What's poppin', guys? Boy, Big Bro, and I'm back with another one in today's video. If you or anybody you know is about to go to Korea through the Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines, and I'm missing one, the Air Force, all right? Then you need to watch this video. It don't matter which branch you're going with. The premise of you traveling during the coronavirus or a pandemic like this one is about the same. So if that's what you're doing, then you need to watch this video. Let's get to the video. Alright guys, so I always start all my videos by thanking my supporters and my subscribers, man. I want to thank you guys for always standing up on all my videos and making sure you comment in the comments, and making sure you emailing me or you leaving an Instagram comment in the DMs that I don't ever check because I don't even use Instagram that much, but I appreciate them anyway. So this video right here is going to be comprised of two parts. The first part is going to be me just kind of giving you guys some tips to help you get engaged while you guys are traveling to Korea and help you avoid some of the mistakes that I made when I was traveling. Even though this is my second time, this is my first time doing it during this coronavirus pandemic. So things are a bit different than they were in 2017 when I went the first time. The second part of this video is going to be a brief blog, or I keep saying blog, man. I mean vlog. Just explaining to you guys and showing you guys everything that I did and all the problems that I ran into on my way getting over here, man. And just so you guys can try to avoid that, man. I had to, what they say, Jay did that, so you ain't have to go through that, man. Dre did that, so y'all ain't got to go through that. All right, guys, so I got my notes here so I can try not to forget anything in this video because it's extremely important that I remember everything that I need to give you guys, okay? The first part that I'm going to talk about is choosing flights, all right? So when you go to the transportation office and you talk to the transportation officer, what they're going to do is your first flight usually is going to be a commercial flight. So like if you stationed at Fort Bragg, then most flights got to fly out of Seattle or somewhere from the coastline just because it's closer to South Korea than say Atlanta. All right, it just makes more sense economically to fly there. Sometimes things are different. So all police, get out of my comments. It ain't going to be the same for everybody. But for the most part, most of those flights are going to be flying out of Seattle. So what you're going to have to do is book your flight commercially with Sato, CWT Sato. So it's like the commercial equivalent of like a airline or whatever for us. So you book your flight through Sato, right? But that flight is separate than the flight you're actually going to take coming to Korea. The flight you're going to take to Korea is what they call an AMC flight. All right, I looked it up to make sure that it wasn't Operation Security. It ain't. It's all over Facebook, all over the internet, so you can find that information. I ain't gonna give it to you in this video, but that's how you're gonna book your flights. So what happened with me, the mistake I made, mistake number one was I booked the flight so that the flights could be simultaneous instead of booking the flight where I can stay in Seattle a night and then fly out the next day. That would have gave me time, or gave the airlines time for delays and stuff like that. Maybe it would have been 2 days of delays. That could have happened. But if I would have booked it that way, then I wouldn't have went through what I had to go through in the vlog, as you guys are going to see. Because I would have had time to get to the airport, catch the flight, and do everything I was supposed to, even if it was a delay going to the airport. So my suggestion is that you book a flight and you have a day between when your flight is leaving and when you arrive to Seattle or your port of exit. So wherever you leaving to actually fly from Korea, you want to have a whole day between then and when you actually going to leave, because it'll give the airline time for delays, man. Because my delay started at my flight was like 7 something, right? Then they delayed it until like 8:30. Then they delayed it again until like 9. And I was nervous then. And then they delayed it all the way to 11. So that caused me to miss all the flights after that, which made me end up staying in Seattle like 2 or 3 days that I wasn't supposed to be there. And I was freaking out because I didn't think they was going to pay me back for the hotel, which they didn't. They ended up, when I did my travel voucher, they ended up like paying me some of it, but not the whole thing. It was weird. And I had to call them, and then it was like, that's not authorized and all that crap like that. So another thing you got to think about when you booking these flights is your COVID test has to be within 72 hours of when you leave, when your flight leaves to go to Korea. So you can't get it like a week before you leave. It's got to be within 72 hours. So that means you have to, it's in your best interest to get it before you leave your duty station. All right, guys. So what I did was I ended up getting it before I left Fort Campbell, right? But because my flight got delayed, I had to get another one right before I got on the flight to go. And that shit cost $250, right? So I submitted my travel voucher and stuff to get that paid. They haven't paid me for it yet, but I think it's in the process of getting submitted. So I don't know if they're going to pay me for that or not. So you don't want to have to deal with that and go through what I went through because you booked your flights simultaneously, just trying to get out of here and just trying to make it a smooth transition. It ain't go smooth because I ain't give myself enough time to get to the airport, make it to a hotel, or make it to get to the airport, make it to the next flight on time, and make sure all my flights was good to go, because the airplane, it was delayed. There was nothing I could do about that. Pretty much acted God, like I think it was weather or engine failure, something crazy that like never happened. So yeah, that's what happened with the flight. So make sure you guys are planning your flights the right way to where you got time to move around and maneuver in whatever your port of exit is, whether that be Seattle or I don't know, some of you guys might be flying out of Maine or something weird like that, or San Francisco or something like that. All right, let's get to the next tip. Okay, so when you're traveling now on the government's dime, you're going to get issued what's called a government travel card, all right? So your government travel card, depending on your credit and different circumstances and stuff like that, you either going to have $4,000 limit or a $7,500 limit. You shouldn't need more than like $2,000 of it. So I would say ensure that your government travel card is active and good to go before you leave. That's tip number 2. I'm going to try to put it right there if I can. And ensure that you have, at least in your bank account, at least $1,500 to $2,000. Try to save that money so if anything come up, you got it. So this time, when I was traveling, I had enough money to move around and do everything I was supposed to do because, I'm at a different place in my career. If all of this calamity would have happened when I was like a PFC and I ain't have no money and I was broke eating Little Caesars pizza in the barracks, I would have been asked out. I probably would have been sleeping outside the freaking airport because they don't give you a number to call so that you could get your so that you can get help during transition. It's an emergency number. You call it, and all you can do on there is book another flight. So you just kind of screwed either way on whatever you do. So just make sure you guys get all the information. I was able to get the numbers from the transportation office that I need. But if I'm a new guy coming in that don't know this information, you kind of screwed, man. So just make sure you got some money in your account and make sure your government travel card is active. So if you need it, that you can use it. All right. So that's not a mistake that I made, but it's a mistake that people often make because they depend on everything to go smooth, and things don't always go smooth when you're flying or when you're doing anything with the military. It's not always going to be 100%. They do the best they can, but everything ain't always 100%. So that's my next tip, is just to make sure you got enough money to sustain yourself for at least a week to a couple weeks, so that if something go down, then you good to go and you just not stuck on your ass, all right? Okay, disclaimer, I'm going to put it up here if it fits, right? I'm not telling y'all to get the vaccine, okay? I'm telling you to think about getting the vaccine. Getting that COVID vaccine is a personal choice. We don't know much information about it. I got it because I felt like it was the right thing for me to do. It might not be the right thing for you to do. But what I will tell you, though, is that when you come into Korea, your life when you get here is going to be a lot easier if you have that vaccine. And I'm going to tell you why. So if you come here without the vaccine, you automatically got to do 14 days quarantine, and you're going to have to get tested, I think, 4 times before they let you out of quarantine. So you get tested when you get here, and then you get tested a few days later. And this is not the military telling you to do this shit. This is the Korean government making us do this because you come from the United States where nobody give a damn about masks and the COVID virus, and then you get over to Korea and everybody like really cares. So they don't want that crap in their country. So they try and make sure that everybody that comes in the country is not spreading the freaking coronavirus to everybody else. So if you're not vaccinated, and you definitely gonna do 14 days in quarantine, and it's not fun, man. It's not good. I did about 5 days, and then I did what they call is the quarantine plan or whatever, where I was vaccinated. So I still had to get the testing, but I was able to quarantine from my room that I'm in right now after I got the first 2 tests, I think. Okay. So, and that's the part of the rules, man. If you're not vaccinated, then that's what they're going to make you do, the 14 days. So what I'll tell you is if you're kind of on the fence and you're coming over here, just know that it's going to be a lot more difficult if you're not vaccinated. I'm not saying go get the vaccine, man, because I don't want to, if it is something messed up in the vaccine, I don't want to be the one to kill nobody because I'm telling y'all to get back. I'm not telling y'all to do nothing. I'm telling you that it was my choice to do it, and it's probably a good idea if you just want to make it a little easier on you when you actually get here. Not to mention, they have rules and guidelines in place that kind of keep you confined once you finish that 14 days if you're not vaccinated. So I'm going to go ahead and just say, hey, it'll be a good idea to at least think about getting it if you're on the fence. And that's just something you should look into if you're coming over here, man, because things are different than they are in the States. The restrictions are a little bit more strict, and the movement and the way they do stuff is more strict than it is back in CONUS is what they call it in the continental United States. So that's my third tip, I think. So let's get to the next tip. Okay, another thing that a mistake that I made as well is I didn't prepare for upsets and delays, man. I wanted everything to go smooth, man, and it didn't. Like a lot of stuff failed on me. So what I'm gonna tell you guys is make sure you prepare for any delays. All right, make sure you got some type of snacks. Make sure you fully hydrated and all of that stuff. You don't know what could happen in between the time you leave your duty station, your last duty station, and then your way to Korea. It's like an 18 or 19 hour flight. Anything between there, anything can happen between there. I ended up being stuck in Seattle for 3 days. I didn't expect that to happen. So anything can happen, and it's really not a whole lot you can do about it if the powers that be say that's what it's got to be. So just make sure you prepare yourself to be delayed. Prepare yourself for any hiccups in your journey or whatever. So that's pretty much all my tips, guys. I'm gonna have another video coming out about my first month or so in Korea and the things I had to do, stuff I had to get done for you guys. With that, I got to do a lot of research because I want to make sure that I'm following all the guidelines and Operation Security. I like to give you guys as much details as possible, but I don't want to break no military guidelines with doing that. So if it breaks Operation Security, then obviously I can't tell you guys that because that ain't the right thing for the country. But I could give you the things that they give you on the internet. Like if it's on the internet and it's unclassified and stuff like that, I could tell you that. But if it's something that is just between military members, then I got to kind of keep that I got to keep that off video. So that's just what I got to do and honor the guidelines that they set for us. So if you guys got any specific questions and you are active duty or you are reserves or National Guard, you somebody that's in the military and you got a secret clearance or whatever, then you can send me an email on Global. Y'all know my name, so it's not no problem. Y'all know who I am. So just look me up, and if you can email me at justdrajr@gmail.com. And if you in the military, then I can talk to you offline about that stuff as long as you send me an email and you let me know that you got your clearance and stuff is good. We can talk about it. But past that, man, I'm gonna get to this vlog and let you guys watch some of the hiccups that I had to deal with, and I pray you guys don't have to go through the shit I had to go through to get here. Once you get here, man, it's pretty decent. But getting here is rough if you didn't prepare for the hiccups, all right? So, hey, as always, I appreciate you guys watching and sticking with me to the end, man. I will see you guys in the next video after this vlog. Peace.